This was July last year. Peter had had pains in his stomach, and they gradually got worse over a short period of time. I emailed the surgery, as I always had done, requesting that he had a face-to-face appointment. I was quite specific where the pain was in his stomach. I told them how serious I thought it was, and that he needed a face-to-face appointment. They came back and said, on this occasion, we will telephone and speak to your husband, but next time he has to book an appointment via the online consultation. The GP did phone. Peter could not tell him how severe the pain was. He couldn't express how bad it was, where it was, because the GP couldn't see where it was. He told him his stomach was bloated, and he was in pain. The GP, he spoke to the GP. He told him, I cannot express how bad this pain is to you. The GP was a bit terse towards him. And Peter said, you do know about my underlying health condition. He had genetic hemochromatosis. GP said, no, that doesn't matter. I haven't got your records here anyway. I think you've got acid reflux. I'll send a prescription to your pharmacy. If nothing changes in a week's time, just come back to me. So Peter took the medication that he was prescribed. There was no change. He still had the pain. 6 days later, he was in terrible pain. He was screaming. I can't describe the screaming that he was going through. He was violently sick. I called an ambulance. They came. They did all the tests. Everything was fine. As the paramedic went to touch his stomach, he flinched. And she said, right, come on, you've got to go straight to hospital. They took him to hospital, and it was discovered he had a problem with his gallbladder. He was in so much pain, he was on morphine. And he had CT scan, MRI scan, and they discovered that a stone had lodged in his bile duct. So he was in hospital, but they couldn't operate on him because of the delay in going from the GP to the hospital. He had a severe infection. Peritonitis had built up, and they couldn't remove his gallbladder. They got the stone from his bile duct, and they sent him home, and they said because of his underlying health condition, his genetic hemochromatosis, he's a priority, it has to be done. And they said in 4 to 6 weeks it would be done. However, the hospital did say that the delay in going to hospital because of only seeing the GP remotely, it caused an infection. And he was sent home at the beginning of September. He had a pre-op assessment. And they said that he was going to have his gallbladder out because of his other condition he had. 4 weeks later, a gallstone had moved again to his bile duct. The surge in iron in his heart. His heart couldn't take it anymore, and he had a heart attack and died.
I'm sorry, it's breaking to listen to you, Lisa. You're doing so well at explaining what has happened to Peter and the impact that has had on you, clearly. And anybody who will be listening to you cannot feel anything like the pain that you are suffering. But it's incredibly hard to listen to what's happened. May I ask you, Lisa? You said that the GP said on that occasion, when you tried to book the appointment as you normally did, the GP said that on that occasion it had to be remote. Was there any explanation about why, on that particular occasion, just so we can try and work out what's going on?
Pandemic. They said because of the pandemic, they weren't seeing patients face to face. They were following government guidelines. It didn't make sense to me because they could have still seen patients face to face and had a system where as one patient came out, another one went in. So there was no interaction. There was no reason to stop face-to-face appointments, in my opinion, because the frontline doctors and nurses were still seeing people face-to-face. They had to. They dealt with them. But why GPs moved straight over is a mystery, and one that ministers and health professionals need to think clearly about why they decided that there and then, and to acknowledge the heartache and the devastation that caused, because what happened to Peter has happened to many others, unfortunately, and families like ours lost someone prematurely, and they have to take account of that. I know they have come out with this 9-point basis for GPs now to see patients face to face, but it's too late. It's just too late.
Lisa, you're doing incredibly well, and you're an extremely brave person, and I'm sure Peter would be proud of you. I just want to ask you one final question. How do you feel when we're told to clap for the NHS? How do you feel when you're told that our health service, which of course contains many excellent professionals doing a good job, how do you feel when we're told that our health service is the best in the world?
It's not the best in the world, not anymore. It was once, not anymore. Underfunding for decades has destroyed that. And it will never be the same. I mean, I can't bring Peter back. Nothing I can do can bring him back. But I just hope anyone who's watching this or listens to it will realise that it has to stop, and I think it has now. They have to see patients face to face. You cannot remotely diagnose. You cannot. And like I said before, the devastation, no words. I can't put into words the loss, not just to me, but to our 2 sons as well. It's just unacceptable that they did this, and unacceptable as well that unions are wanting to poll their doctors about striking. No, enough. See your patients face to face, stop families being destroyed like mine has, and do your job. And as for clapping for NHS workers, frontline doctors and nurses have done a fantastic, hard job during the pandemic. There is no doubt about that. But GPs, not all, but some, took it upon themselves to use this as a way of doing less.